Good whatever to you, whenever you are listening to this episode of Chatting with Beloved Chatters, where we have an interview not with stars of the show, but with people from the chat room. But Ian Hawk, I believe you are a little bit of both, a little bit of a chatter, a little bit of a host.
Yeah, I've kind of played both sides of the realm.
What shows are you on currently?
No shows like at the moment. I just do guest stuff. Mainly I am Patreon members for Cardiff and El Horrible. So I do like guest stuff for them with them. And
Do
then
you have do you have any performance background, stand up or acting at all?
no, just uh like community theater stuff. That's about it.
Yeah, I got bit by the acting bug in community theater and then attempted to make a career out of it. So I was on my W-2 for 6 years. So that's a success-ish.
Oh, wow, they weren't paying anyone in my town, but it was a fun little thing for a while.
Yeah, I had to go to Los Angeles to get paid. The local theater, yeah, did not pay a damn thing, but it was fun. Did you do any Shakespeare at all?
No Shakespeare, no.
I
Uh,
found that to be really fun because you're using the archaic language. People don't know what the fuck you're saying. So you really have to go over the top for them to understand your emotions and what you mean.
Yeah, I've seen a lot at Ren festivals. There's a college near me that does hosts a Ren festival every year.
He hath disgraced me and hindered me. 500,000 laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, cooled my friends, heated mine enemies. And what's his reason? I am a Jew.
Are you a big Ren Fair goer? I've only been to one. I should check out some more.
I've been to two or three.
Yeah, I have someone who would really get into it, and there's actually some TikTok cringe of people really being into it with attractive ladies, and they're just there, kind of half performing, half uh, just hanging out.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the big bosomed women just walking around, not doing really much to be stared at, ogled.
And you mentioned Austin. Are you close to Austin?
Yeah, a couple hours. Yeah.
I actually, on my way from Maryland to Los Angeles, the original trip of moving to the West Coast, I stopped by Austin for a few days, and I do enjoy Austin. Nice little odd community there. What is it, 7th Street, with all the former houses that are now bars. That's a fun little section.
Oh yeah, definitely a little weird area and nice area just to get drunk when you're younger. I haven't been down there to that specific area in maybe 2 or 3 years, I would say. But from what I've heard, it's gotten a little, it's gotten really homelessy. So it's just hard to want to
Yeah,
go
I heard
down there
that.
anymore.
That's the same thing I heard, and it's been many years since I've been to Austin, so that's unfortunate. Did you ever go to South by Southwest?
No, I'd never been.
I missed it by it was less than a week. Like they were still packing shit up when my trip there went through, and I was like, "Well, shit, there was a lot of fun that was
Yeah,
just here."
yeah. I've been to a lot of the open air festivals. Chicago. There was one in New Orleans and then Houston. Uh, like, those are the kind of concerts, like rock and heavy metal and stuff.
How did you get into this Dabbleverse? I always ask. It seems Opie and Anthony and Howard Stern refugees are a big population of the people that found this Dabbleverse, Hackverse, what have you.
Yeah, I was never a live listener of like ONA or Howard either, but I found Opie and Anthony clips on YouTube and then got real big into them. More lately, I've been doing a lot of Howard listening, the old school Howard. But I found them. Went on to find like I eventually found out I didn't even know they weren't a thing anymore, and then so found out they had quit or they went their separate ways, and then yeah, well, okay. but
That
but
was
they're
the
separate
same with
ways.
me.
Yeah.
Someone actually informed me. I made Opie and Anthony, you'll love this. No, they're not a thing anymore. I was like, oh, no shit. And I'm a second generation Stern fan. My dad was a super fan. I got into it, so I drank the Kool-Aid, and I was like nuts to those guys because Howard told me so. And once I heard they were broken up, like that was like, oh, okay, let's check out this thing that isn't a threat anymore. To Well, even then, I wasn't a Howard fan. Because like a lot of people, I dropped off after Artie Lang left, and it was kind of like eventual that I was like, yeah, I don't need this serious radio anymore.
Yeah, I actually have to pay for it now because of a car, and so just to have a radio in the car, so I pay for Sirius nowadays, but I don't pay for the upgrade for any of the talk radio.
Are you listening to modern Howard at all?
No, no, definitely not.
When I had a rental car, actually going up to Rochester, I heard some of modern day Howard, and he sounds like Woody Allen. You know, he doesn't have the neurotic voice, but the way he talks about Beth's beautiful body and she wants to cover it in tattoos. And I just want to see her body for what it is. And she's covering it up, and there
Mhm.
could be diseases in those needles. Like
Yeah,
he's missing the actual tone of voice, but it sounds like Woody Allen, something he would say.
yeah, the most recent I heard him was on I listen to WATP, so when they cover him, that's how I listen.
I used to think Howard was a great interviewer. And yeah, whenever Carl brings up Howard clips, I'm like, was I wrong? Does Howard
Yeah.
stink at interviewing?
Well, I mean, even nowadays with all when he had that celebrity thing where they just like, oh, we can turn on mics and we're live all of a sudden, this is so wild in this day and age. They can hear us, It was kind of a crazy thing to say
I,
out loud.
I do think that his interview skills deteriorated. There was one time he had Paul Anka on, and I gave no fucks about Paul Anka, but he conducted an interview that had me hooked to the radio for the full 45, 60 minutes that Paul Anka was going off about his new album.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't even know who. I just looked up who Paul Anka was.
Yeah, a Rat Pack guy. He was one
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
younger folks around Frank Sinatra and them. And yeah, when he came on, I had no idea who he was, and he had me interested throughout the interview. So I do believe Howard's neuroses and his mother's neuroses, as Carl has pointed out, is leaking out and infecting his show badly.
yeah. There's a lot of comics I've grown to love because of Howard. Even Gilbert Godfrey was how I even found Gilbert. I mean, I found Howard. Gilbert's interviews with Howard were just so hilarious and funny that
Gilbert
just
sitting in on the news
yes, yeah,
was just so good. I imagine there's a compilation somewhere on YouTube, but Gilbert and Artie both being in on the news, and when Robin would just bring up a racial story in the news, it's like, oh boy, here we go, strap in.
yeah,
Gilbert and Artie are going to have a lot to say about this.
yeah, definitely.
So, do you have a favorite character? You are going back and listening to Stern now. Is there a certain whack packer, a certain reoccurring guest who you keep finding yourself wanting more of?
Well, my favorite whack packer is Beetlejuice. I mean, I think that's for a lot of people. But
Absolutely.
I do go back and listen because Wendy's actually kind of like involved in my life nowadays because she's involved in like all the podcasts or she's involved with Be Dabbler, but she's in all the Discord. So we talk to her nowadays. So I've gone back and listened to a lot of Wendy calls. And Jeff the Drunk. Jeff.
Oh yeah, Jeff.
Yeah.
You fucking asshole. Do you have a game for me? It's so funny when they turn into full-on beggars. Hey, Howard, it's me. Do you have a game?
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, yeah, they
I
were
need
always wanting everyone wanted some cash. It was real funny, all their mentality at the time, and it's kind of still is their mentality even 20 years later.
She started wearing a diaper about a year ago.
Is that right?
Yeah, because she shits and pisses like in her pants.
Well, how did she forget toilet training?
I think she just got so fat and lazy that she just shits right in her pants,
Oh,
and then she like deals with it later.
jeez.
I think so. This is what she claims.
You made me explode.
So I think her mom made her wear a diaper now.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Made me pee myself. And my diaper, and my pants. And now I gotta try and dry my mom's rug in her room
Yeah.
before she gets home. And start yelling at me!
Right.
Oh my
Yeah.
If she's wearing a diaper, how did it get on the floor?
Because what do you think? She puts the diaper on appropriately?
She really exploded, Gary.
Yeah. I mean, that shit flew right out of the diaper. That piss just went right down her leg. Wendy, I'm going to ask you a question. If you get it right, I'm going to give you $500 from mangroomer.com.
Man groomer, you can use it on your...
The new Man Groomer is the essential do-it-yourself
Man groomer.
electric back hair shaver.
Do you have a big
Wendy.
bush?
Yeah. Do you have hair on your back?
Yes,
Go to mangroomer.com to get yours today. All right. You ready?
yes.
All right, Wendy. If you take 6 shits
Oh.
a day and a dog eats 2 of them, how many movements are left?
4.
Right.
Wow.
Is that the question?
That was it.
You win.
You win $500.
Thank you, Howard.
So, were there any local radio guys you got really into? Did you always grow up in the Texas area?
No, I grew up in Oregon in a little town called Umatilla. Maybe that was the county. But it was just a small little area, and then family was passing away down here in Texas, so ended up moving way down south, and then found my way where I am right now. I'm not gonna dox myself though, but yeah, I grew up listening, when I started having a car, I started listening to Free Beer and Hot Wings a whole lot. I don't know if a whole lot of people know who they are.
And that's when Eric Zane was involved with them, correct?
That is exactly when Eric Zane was involved. Yeah.
It was the WATP that I got familiar with Free Beer and Hot Wings. I believe that was where the classic drop, "There have been no laughs, none," come from, as Eric Zane is freaking out at his co-hosts.
Yes. Yeah. They actually, I don't know if they were still, they stopped being broadcast in my area, and they were replaced by WATP's covered these 2 radio guys as well, and they've been jocktobered by Opie and Anthony. But it was like, one guy is a voice actor for, like, he plays a woman, a black dude, a country guy, a gay guy, and himself. And then the other guy is just the main DJ or the host. And so they got replaced by 2 people. Like, the whole Free Beer and Hot Wings team got replaced by a radio show with just 2 guys, where one guy was acting.
2 people where one guy is like 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah,
supposedly.
and having conversations with himself, which was real wild to find out. I was a little young, so I didn't 18, 19, not really understanding what the hell was going on.
That was a gimmick Bubba the Love Sponge did as well. His one of the people in Manson had this voice of Nedley Mandingo, and
Okay.
it was Howard 100 News accidentally exposed. I say accidentally. Once Steve Langford got a lead. Oh, I love Steve Langford stuff. Have you
Yeah.
stumbled upon that guy at all?
Sting Langford following. Is it High Pitch Eric? Maybe not. No. It's the other guy with the high pitch voice that won the TV. And so he shows up at his house. He shows up at his apartment and wants to go up in the apartment, but the other guy's really offended that Steve Langford even decided to show up at his house because they work together.
And Eric Offen, Elliot Offen was another one that Steve Langford really got into interviewing. Actually went above and beyond. Like, his boss was like, why did you do this? I was following the story.
Yes, I do remember that one.
And he has a past in very sensational news. So him treating these wacky Howard Sterns as seriously as he treated any other subject was just so damn fun.
Yeah, definitely. Just no F's given when you're talking with other people, just trying to get straight to the truth.
And he actually had some hard-hitting stories.
Yeah.
Through several different avenues, but Steve Langford's reporting of privatized prisons with Kenneth Keith Kallenbach's death really got me very aware of the prison industry. That it's quite scary, the fact that prison is privatized and for profit.
Yes, yeah, that is wild.
Opie and Anthony, as I said, they were. I actually love them more. Like Patrice O'Neill was a prophet. Bill Burr's sat into the studio. Little Jimmy. There's just so much I'm kicking myself for not being a fan of at the time, because I was just too much in the Howard cult.
Yeah, well, I was even oblivious of any of this going on at the time. But going back and listening to them all re-listen to Bill Burr's 70 or a 45-minute takedown of Atlanta or whatever when he was on stage, and then
then the next city tried to do that. He was like, "Nope, we're not doing that. That's not my gimmick. Fuck you guys."
Yeah. And then Patrice O'Neill's laugh was just the most insatiable laugh ever. Just that high pitch, just squeal that you're just out of breath. You're out of breath when you're in that room laughing.
Something that's unfortunate with the Patrice O'Neill appearances, they used to have him review the country music top 10 somewhat regularly. And of course, when people are uploading those to YouTube, they're striking the shit out of it. So those are just all cut out. Patrice O'Neill reacting to country music. That would be something fascinating to check out.
I think I've seen little bits and pieces, but like you were saying, it's never going to be uploaded to YouTube. All the background.
Have you been to any live events in this Hackverse, Dabbleverse?
No, I have not.
Yeah, the Rochester show, DabbleCon felt like such a happening that I actually arranged my trip to see my family holiday adjacent around DabbleCon. I was like, maybe I'll visit you every 18 months. I'll see you in the summer. DabbleCon? Okay, I'm visiting you on my way to Rochester, New York.
Yeah, that definitely. DabbleCon seemed like it was the happening place to be, and it just honestly it does suck that Shuli wasn't able to capture that and keep it going with Pottstown.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Shuli's for a few months of Shuli on the Stern Show. As I've said several times, I'm just very indifferent. There have been people who have just always disliked Shuli, but I was like, he's whatever. He's there. He's not offensive. He's not great. Dr. Spaghetti Tooth John was a big fan of Shuli's. She said that he really got the chance to shine in the 2013 and after years with all the puppets and all the different voices that he did, but I wasn't privy to that. I wasn't checking Stern out at the time. And Pottstown, the B Dabbler, he gave it the Pottstown Massacre moniker that night, and that really stuck.
Yes, I actually was reading a Reddit. There's a Reddit thread that's an old one of a random civilian, I'll say, that did not know anything about the Dabbleverse or anything like that. Thought the Uncle Rico show was a comedy show that just had headliners like Bob Levy and Shuli and Mike Morse.
Just being somewhat familiar with Stern and stuff,
with
you would recognize
world.
Those names.
Exactly. And so they showed
Bob
up.
Levy, Levy's having a renaissance. I want to see Levy.
The Reddit review was very scathing on every account on how the event went and how a random person went in, paid the $45 so that they could meet Bob, and then found out they got they could have just paid the $25, sat up front row and met Bob for the same price that other people were, and not receiving the posters or anything. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, just so many baffling choices. The venue itself, looking at what the venue was, it looks like community theater. It looks like a stage like from a church or something.
They said they showed up to, on the Reddit thing, they even said that they mentioned there was two venues that Soul Joel owns, and one of them was having a funeral that night. And so they showed up to the funeral. They did, and then they were like, "Oh no, that's a different venue," and then they had to go. They had to walk over to the other building that was having the comedy show.
I might have stayed at the funeral. I mean, Daryl Hall's mother. You don't know when you're going to see Daryl Hall again.
Oh yeah,
It sounds like a parody. The fact that an '80s superstar of rock is there having a funeral, but yeah, just so much went wrong. They're finally getting the posters out. I was convinced that the posters were never designed. Which, when you see they're finally getting them out, the posters are just the thrown together Photoshop that they promoted the show with. Whereas DabbleCon, it's over on my wall there. You can kind of sort of see it. It was a unique poster that hadn't been posted anywhere else before. And uh,
yeah, it was
yeah,
artwork made for the event,
yes,
specifically made to be on a poster that someone had gone out of their way to do instead of just thrown together real fast and easy to appease and today.
and 11 by 17, by the way. Anything below 11 by 17, I don't consider a poster. And by
Yes.
those screenshots of the posters that they
I saw
finally got,
those on the X.
yeah, it doesn't appear those are 11 by 17. I call shenanigans. Those are flyers that he finally got out.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And I highly doubt. I mean, they do have signatures on them, but it's very skeptical that all three.
Yeah, like a digital signature. You can easily get a digital signature, but that poster would have had to go all around the United States and even up to northern Minnesota to get all the signatures of the people who were there.
Exactly. Yeah, they would just have to send a box to each guy, and then they would pass the box around.
And honestly, Shuley might have retained me as a fan if he just would have came out like, guys, we fucked up. But he kind of gave what I thought. I feel like Shuley is trying to be Howard. He's getting his whack pack of Jake Hudson and Joey C and whoever else, and like that was a very Howard response of just not taking any of the blame. Trying to just shine a spotlight on Ray DeVito for being foolish, which he deserved some of it, not all of it. And for the six people, just very downplaying the situation where I just wanted some humility from him instead of big timing us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even as of lately, they seem to, with the MLC drama and all that going on, Bob and Shuley and Mike, they seem to be spinning things in a way that's always been positive for them. Because I'm a big NLO guy, and to see how that all unfolded, how Shuley and Bob just almost instantly turned on Patrick and just like were spouting like rhetoric that they've, like, probably said to themselves many, many times, but then put it in the words that Patrick had said that.
But he still, Shuley still has a lot of loyal fans, so maybe this radio drama is doing him well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He lost me, he lost OJ. Sounds like he lost you, but he's got a certain passionate fan base who is there with him still.
Oh yeah, and all of those people are really good people. You can't. I mean, a lot of people, play it as it's all comedy and it's all fake, which I mean, it mainly is. But I'm still just not gonna. I'm not gonna go about listening to, stuff that I don't even find, funny in my opinion. The Stuttering John content has gone over the top.
I appreciate when effort is put in, and anytime it seems there's effort involved, it appears that Shuley just isn't stepping up to the plate. So that's something. Another thing that I'm looking at, like, you had this. You were like one of the pillars of this Dabbleverse in January, and now. You're losing me with this attitude and the amount of effort that it appears you're putting in.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Shuley let the let the money or something, just the fame, I guess. I don't know how you put it, go to his head, because it doesn't seem like he's even bothering to like put effort into clips for his own show, that content he would find. It seems like other guys are doing that for him now.
Well, even the clips that they do find, it's like watching other shows.
Yeah.
When I ran my Shuley Detractor show for 3 weeks, the final segment was where in the TikTok is Balin? Because once he started doing Balin, it's like, yeah, that's really Carl's thing. And
That's also what I thought. He does a lot of Carl.
yeah, there's such a wealth of shenanigans with I actually spun that show off. The TikTok segment of where in the TikTok is Balin is now TikTok around the clock, which when I bring you madness from TikTok live.
This is my Golden Gate Bridge sweater. I made it back in 2002. It took me 6 weeks to complete, in part because of all these cables, which was a lot of work. This is my Eiffel Tower sweater that I'm wearing right now. I knew I had to include an Eiffel Tower sweater in my collection because it's one of the most famous landmarks in the world. But so far, I have not been with this sweater to the real Eiffel Tower in Paris. I have been with it to a lot of replica Eiffel Towers, and the best picture I have is with the one in Vegas. If you would like, you could get a t-shirt that looks just like this sweater on my website, sambarsky.com. The sweater that I'm wearing now has 34 miniature pictures of other sweaters I knitted before, and now you can get a t-shirt just like it on my website, sambarsky.com.
Carl debuted Who Are These Socials? This has happened a few times to me where I have this great idea and then someone gets there to me first. So he's got his Where Are These Socials show. I was like, all right, let's just do TikTok live. And that'll be my own spin on this. Greg Giraldo. That's the first time when I came up with a joke and someone else did it. There was a roast where he did the joke. It looks like that you looked inside of the Ark of the Covenant to someone at a roast, and that was a joke that I had been using. Oh, Greg Giraldo used that. Cool. I kind of think along the same lines as him. Neat.
Yeah, that is pretty.
Who was another one? Patton Oswalt. He had a joke of if you could hear his inner monologue that he had out on an album when I was just starting to test that material out at open mics, and it's like, well, that's dead now.
Yeah. Even I used to say I'm gonna go beat my dick like it owes me money, and turns out Bob Levy stole that from me, and Dave Chappelle stole that from him.
I love the Stern saga where they're like, Bob, that's an old joke. That's like a Jackie the Joke Man joke. You didn't make that. No, I invented beat my dick like it owes me money. He was very passionate about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, Artie has a monologue on what a scumbag Bob is that I listened to recently. When Bob would piss Artie off, he was so articulate in deconstructing Bob the scumbag. But he's our scumbag. We love that old scumbag.
Yeah, I do love Bob. Did you happen to see he put him and Hack Rider doing a thing with the Levyverse stuff?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay. You'll have to check that out later on today. They put out a 2-minute clip, and Bob is a VR character of a vampire. But I think the whole entire thing is an AI, hyped up bit that was pumped out. It's pretty.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. It's and this is Bob, right? Not an AI Bob.
I think the voice is AI Bob. It's supposed to sound like Bob. It does almost sound like Bob, but then there was a weird way it was saying like 2 or 3 sentences that I was just like, okay, no, Bob wouldn't say anything. It just threw off the whole.
And that's something when I was still watching Shuli that they started getting into with the AI Shuli, AI Mike, and AI Levy. And the AI Levy just had pure green hair because of the reflection of the green screen that Bob had for quite a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This one's like a vampire. It looks like a Nosferatu Dracula, big forehead and hair vampire that is supposed to be Bob. It's pretty fun.
And I'm glad he did come back on the scene. And seeing him perform live, he was the headliner of the DabbleCon stand-up, and it seemed like he was drunk as fuck, but he commanded that stage, and he was very funny. Some people, it absolutely works to be a drunken fool on stage. Like Doug Stanhope is another one who says, look, I've got to be drunk in order to perform stand-up. Otherwise, you would be looking at a stuttering, unconfident fucker up here.
Yeah, I can see that happening a lot. And I haven't heard any bad reviews about any of the comedy that happened from BabbleCon, but you can't say that from Pottstown with Ray DeVito.
Yeah, Ray DeVito has a likable personality, and anytime I can't watch his podcast. I just can't. It hurts to watch his podcast and hearing reports of his stand-up. It's like, oh no, should you be doing this, Ray? Ugh.
Yeah, depending on the guest, I'll watch. I like to watch the intros a lot of the times because he just sits there and he's real up front. Hey guys, it's Ray DeVito Rock Bottom Podcast. How's it going, guys? What's going on? I wasn't gonna do a podcast here. What's going on? And he's just rocking back and forth, and he's waiting for everyone to interact with him instead of having something planned. Those are the good intros.
That actually does work sometimes. Like OJ, I haven't seen him do Obnoxious John. I haven't seen him do a hang stream, but he was doing them somewhat regularly there for a little bit, and those were a fun little come and hang and chat with each other when you've got the formula correct. Which, yeah, Ray, it just seems like he's fishing for material rather than proper hang stream.
Yeah, he's definitely waiting for money and funny chats to come up so he can talk right then. It's not just hang out with a couple people, but everyone's doing it tonight. 'Cause he's doing it daily.
It kind of reminds me. Oh shit! I can't remember his name. I'm gonna have to move on because I can't remember my reference. Fixing. Shit. Base frequency. Fuck. Yeah. Moving on. Cut that pod out.
Chip Chipperson. I love the Chip Chipperson saga, and I'm kind of sad that he's all gone nowadays.
Yeah, he had that podcast for a while. The Chipperson podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And
Podcast.
That's right. Cut that pod out.
Podcast.
On my own show, I've kind of started to put a moratorium on Chip impressions because that went from a fun little reference to a crutch. It's fun to use that Chipperson crutch.
Yeah, when I was big into watching him, I just remember just sitting around quoting him nonstop, and then you're just kind of like, oh man, I'm kind of getting too involved in Chip. You can't go full Chip.
You never go full Chip.
Yeah.
It's funny how Chip evolved into like Opie. At some point when he got more of a rounded character and started getting mean at different points, and at some point it evolved. Like I don't think it started out as an Opie impression, but at some point Chip evolved into his barbs at Opie.
Yeah. Oh, I've been doing this 18 years. Oh, I've grown up doing all this. I've been doing it all my whole life.
And I've said this quite a few times. Angry Opie, I am a fan of. Opie doesn't want to be angry. He wants to just go on and do his podcast from his beach house or up in the top of his top floor house.
Yeah. The money and the chillness of him is real weird nowadays. I like the where he had that broke his DVD in half in front of him. And it was a fake DVD, but the guy did not realize and went and attacked Opie almost over the whole incident. He was like a
exact one. I've heard Opie breaking a few things.
He's done the cake. The cake stomping was a real big one.
I think there was a popsicle stick artist that
they tried to snatch his whole. He had a whole booklet of things that he's done, and they tried to snatch it from him. And I think they got down the hallway, and then they pretty much gave it right back.
And it's funny how much of this lore we all know, and neither you or me were fans at the time. Thank goodness all these clips are still up on YouTube for us to reminisce about these times that we didn't live in the first place.
Oh yeah. The things you remember is real weird because I can remember specifically I was working in a coffee shop at that time, so just having like a loudspeaker on in the back room of a coffee shop listening to Opie and Anthony. And they weren't even on air, so it's real strange the things you can relate to that.
Similar with me. I was doing prep work on the weekend, and no one else was around to hear it. Where I was like, I could not play this if I was working on the weekdays. Thank goodness I'm the only one here so I can hear Patrice's unadulterated opinions on everything. I could not get away with this if people were around.
Yes, yeah. Him and listening to him and Anthony is always great. You can go back and listen to it nowadays and re-listen to things you've already heard and still enjoy yourself.
That's 6'4"
I
of
am
glory
really
right there.
just
6'4" of lusciousness.
You're a racist.
I am into white chicks.
You're a racist.
That's just
but
it.
I think
I'm into
that's
white.
partly gay.
What? You now are
There's a
insane.
gay tinge to somebody who doesn't
Gay?
like all women.
No,
I think it is.
I'm xenophobe.
Nobody racist. There's no racism that goes that high. Like Hitler would have been like, well, she's cutie pie. She's from Africa, but I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like a dude.
You are attacking my masculinity based on my racism?
Do you find any black women hot?
No, he's a racist.
Fine.
But see, Patrice is as racist as you are. You guys
Right.
just are different colors.
Yeah.
But he would still sleep with a white girl.
That's what I'm saying. I look at a
white girls are hot.
But you wouldn't sleep with a black girl, though. Is what
I wouldn't look at a hot black white girl and go,
It would have to be the
look at her, she's
perfect.
white.
It would have to be the perfect black girl that has something else
She
in
looks
her
like
a little bit.
zombie.
It would have to be like, mix
Really?
a mulata, something like
really?
that. Yeah, I don't know.
Your
Pure.
racism is it's almost unprecedented.
Thank you.
It's unprecedented racism.
really.
So, are you making any regular appearances? You said you don't have a show currently. You're just kind of guesting. Jake Hudson, you mentioned you're making amends with. It sounds like.
Yeah, I've actually did a hour and a half with Jake Hudson today. It was pretty nice. He messaged me on Discord. I think Dabble and Fearless 31 have been talking with him, and they've been pretty nice about it all. And Jake and I have been talking and hanging out in Discords for a little bit, and then behind the scenes. And he invited me on the show today, which was real wild. I just happened to be home, so I was like, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
comeback.
getting full into the world of Jake intimidates me. Dabble Story and would like me to go full into Jake Hudson as well, and I'm a little intimidated by the world of Jake Hudson.
Yeah. Jake can definitely be overwhelming at times, but as long as you know what you're doing with him, you can say a couple sentences, and you know what you're saying to Jake, and everything's cool. And Jake's a really good guy, so he eventually knows what he's doing, and calms himself down.
Okay, good. Maybe you can talk me into it yet, Dabble Story, and that's when he was pushing on me. That I was like, I don't know, I'm not so sure, sir.
Jake's had some great sagas. At one point, he was pissed off. He was mad at me. He's been pissed off with Corn Diff. He showed up on an Opie stream and just randomly said, "Corn Diff, F you, I'm gonna put you through a table," and then signed off the podcast. Jake's done some wild things in the past. Just coming on streams, and I like when he tells people he's gonna run them through a table. Just like a classic WWE.
Yeah, very Dudley Boys of him. He would be, if any of them, he would be Spike.
Yeah, definitely Spike Dudley. Yeah,
little Spike Dudley, who in ECW LSD they called the Dudley Dog the acid drop back before he got on network television.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. Yeah, Jake would definitely know all of that. You should do an interview.
Now I got both you and Dabble Story and pushing him on me.
He's good with interviews. He is.
He'll break me down eventually.
He's shown up on a couple like really big podcasts, and he's done like a 20-30 minute interviews with those guys, and he does really good with his interviews. It's not like his regular show.
Yeah, that's what intimidates me is his regular show and his Shuley appearances. It's very whack pack. Like it almost seems archaic, the way that Shuley treats Jake Hudson to me. Like as I said, very Howard Stern from 10 years ago.
Yeah, and you also got to imagine there's a lot of behind the scenes fuckery going on, and they're trying to they're playing their bits to try to get Jake angry, and like the finger bit that was a really good one, but
Oh
yeah.
boy, yeah. I was there on that morning of the BS show. That will never leave me. That finger.
Well, he washes his hands.
That's good. That finger has so many different bodily fluids on it. It needs a bleaching.
I love you, Jake. I love
I think I like you, Jake. You intimidate me, but I don't dislike you. I should have written down a few more points. We would have less of these awkward silences.
No, it's all good. I understand. I'm not a known guy.
Are you a big video game guy? I might as well plug the other show that I'm doing. What is this game with Annie? Where I'm getting a lot of video games that I'm unfamiliar with. I've been very casual with my video gaming. I see the Mario question mark behind you.
Yeah, I had a. I'm fairly big into them. I've got my mobile computer games and stuff. I've got my PS5s right here and my PlayStation 4 and Oculus is right there. So I'm pretty big into gaming. I was watching an episode with you and Annie. I was telling Dabble I need to get pretty fun. I have to find a game together.
Yeah, the Dead Space was the most recent episode, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna get way behind because I just want to keep playing Dead Space. Which
Did y'all? I didn't see the most. Did y'all play the current Dead Space or the older one?
The older one.
Okay. I actually have that one for the deck. I enjoy the older one a lot.
Yeah, the original Dead Space we played, and I enjoyed it so much. I just kind of looked up online what are the differences, and just making it more modern. And there's like load screens and stuff that are worked into it for the technology at the time. They're like, we don't need this shit in the remake. Let's just make it a big open area. We still have the tram, but you can walk to the different areas if you'd like to.
Yeah, definitely, and just modernized graphics. I think that's the game. Lorenzo Areola does gaming stuff too, and I think that was the game that I had helped him get. He was real big. He sent me like I have a funky Eskimo signed poster or a signed picture up there from him for helping.
Lorenzo Areola is someone who, we thought when we were initially introduced to him, I thought he was going to be an unaware lolcow, but he knows what he's doing and he's steering into it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm actually wearing a Lorenzo shirt for this show. Yeah.
I actually need to check out his interview with Donkey Lips. He has like a 3-4 hour interview with Donkey Lips.
It wasn't even going to be that long, and then he just milked it out of him. It was pretty good. And Bauer's really careful on his interview, so it does make sense because like Lorenzo's never like done a hate piece or like anything like that, and Lorenzo's never done like that to it. Like he's never like made a show about a guy, and so it makes sense that Bauer would go on his show because Lorenzo's never talked shit about anyone else. And that's what Bauer's really afraid of, is later on being the target.
Yeah, I try not to talk too much shit in my shows. I like to give a playful jab, but some people don't take it that way. I did 2 episodes on Michael Bauer, and actually the second one I don't bust his balls at all. The first one, yes, I busted his balls a lot.
Yeah.
But the second one, I was like, oh wow, I didn't make fun of him a bit. We just had I just had a conversation with a pre-recorded video.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help my case for saying I'm not schizophrenic.
Yeah, I do like your co-host audition. So I mean, it has been an interesting bit to watch.
Thanks. That was an idea I had, I think, like on a Saturday or a Sunday, and then started it on a Monday. One of those things where it's like, what have I got? I've got a microphone, I've got a computer, I've got clips.
I think I was talking to someone and they said, Yeah, him and Elise Edwards were doing a podcast today, and I was like, I don't think you were. I was like, that wasn't really. He's auditioning to be with Elise Edwards. I had to
Yeah,
explain to him the whole aspect of it because they really thought you and Elise were together at a little bit at a time.
yeah, that's why I keep it under the banner of co-host auditions when I'm doing this. Like the
Yeah.
people, once you realize what the gag is, that I'm not actually there with them. It's something that getting a lot of tips secondhand from Carl from all his skewerings of who are these podcasts. Just introducing what the show is up front. That's something it took me a few episodes to get into. Of like, I need to explain this is my self-taped audition for them, so people can pick up an episode, but I'm not bashing you over the head. This is a bit. This is a bit.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I've been enjoying.
Thanks. I'm glad. Yeah, it's starting to find an audience. I've got a dry wit to me, so hopefully, looking for the audience that will eventually pay me some paywall money. Because once again, going by the Carl Hamburger model, he says that's where the money is. The different like YouTube and ways you can get monetized. That's nice, but inconsistent. Adpocalypse, as the streamers talk about. You never know when things are going to just change on a dime on platforms like this, and it's just like, well, you know how you were making a living, now you can buy lunch.
Yeah, and a lot of the bigger, I mean, two of the podcasts that I'm really big into, NLO and Pod Awful, they don't even go through Patreon. They don't even take the Patreon cut out of their profits. They have their own website where they're hosting, their own content. So even if they get taken down from those, they're always going to have a safe zone.
Yeah, it's nice to have these models to look up to of Milton and Carl who've done it on their own, and something I aspire to be. And they've done it, built it from nothing, and that's why I'm not too upset that it's slow growing here in my first year of doing it, because it takes like 100 episodes at an episode a week for multiple different podcasts that I'm aware of to actually gain a following and an audience.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm still not even I'm on the fence with Carl's other things. Like, I don't like Who Are These Podcasts? I'm going to be honest. I don't like anything about like Spaceball or sports like, radio broadcast sports like that. So it's not a big.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Who Are These Broadcasters seems like the one too many of. I enjoy Who Are These Socials. I enjoy the Creep Off. He does 2 Who Are These Podcasts a week. And yeah, I'm with you. I have in all the episodes. I think I've checked it out 3 different times. It's not hooking me. Who are these broadcasters? And it's got Eric Zane. You're a fan of Eric Zane.
Yeah, I still
just something about it. It isn't hitting like his other ones are.
Exactly. But yeah, I probably look at it as like he's got enough going on that he can do something now that he doesn't care. Like, he cares about it, but it doesn't care if like that's his big thing.
And just growing the brand, the Who Are These brand. Now that it's known, when he comes out with a new concept, it's a who are these? It's immediately associated with him. If someone else were to try a who are these, even though that was like a Seinfeld joke back in the day, who are these people?
Yeah.
With people familiar with Carl Hamburger and his exploits, it's Carl's now.
Definitely.
And that's really what you're looking for with the brand. Yeah, just a fantastic model that it was after episode 100 that's the Carl Hamburger model. We're doing it for fun. We're having a great time with it, and oh boy, after 100, this is actually profitable.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I could. Yeah.
And that's actually unfortunate with a lot of television shows nowadays with streaming. If it's not a hit immediately, then it's getting canceled. Cheers was a major failure the first season, but they were able to get the room to grow into something. And now, if it doesn't hit in the first few episodes of streaming, fucking get rid of it.
Yeah, Netflix will take off shows that they've already, they have a season of, and it hasn't even gone out to us, but they know it's not going to be a thing, so they don't even they just cut it right then and there.
Their model in general isn't kind to fans. They're just looking to stock their shelves, and they could stop stocking their shelf with that product at any time. So that's the way it's kind of gone, and things. That's another reason. Like, it's the strike hasn't been good for Hollywood. Yeah, a lot of things not kicking like they used to with scripted television, and reality television is so cheap to make. That's all it's going to be populated with soon.
Yeah, yeah, especially with Rumble and Kick and Twitch and IRL streamers are just becoming such a massive hit that they're eventually going to get their own shows, and it's just gonna be IRL, TV for everything, unless you want cartoon.
That's the one thing that I that I was thinking. Like, the Futurama, the new season of Futurama coming out next year. We need those writers and those actors back to get
Yeah.
us more Futurama. That's the one thing that is like more resilient than sitcoms and dramas, and especially as we just see more of the same. There's just so many things that feel like CSI, that feel like NCIS. Quantum Leap. It feels like is the new series doesn't feel like Quantum Leap. It feels like every other CSI. And
Wait, there's a CSI called Quantum Leap now?
no, Quantum Leap. Are you familiar with the original Quantum Leap television
No,
show?
I don't think I am, to be honest.
The people who are fans of it are huge fans, as am I, and they've got a new reboot of Quantum Leap, and it was just so unique, such a unique storytelling device that they had. And the new reboot, it feels like NCIS, like CSI. It doesn't feel unique at all.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. I just looked at it right now, and I can there that we're seeing that a lot though with a lot of the reboots and the remakes. It's just not the same feeling that we had when we were younger. So like the nostalgia isn't there, possibly.
And just making it feel like everything else. That's
Yeah,
that's something that like late night television, watching Johnny Carson back in the day, and how he would get kind of experimental at times, but once the mold was set, like, this is what late night television is, and this is what we're going through. There are a lot of creative people that want to do something different. Like, Conan O'Brien felt different in the 90s. His sketches, it felt like something you really wanted to go out of your way to see. But yeah, there are indeed creative people who want to mix up that formula, but the people with the money are very afraid of breaking from that formula.
yeah, yeah. I can always understand it. What they're in it for the money. That's but sometimes art doesn't make money.
And it's always been a balance, all the way back to the Sistine Chapel, of the artist doing what he wants to do, but he's being paid by all these people with the money, so he's got to do it within reason. And I'd like to see the huge, big budget movies. We don't need so many. Like, the mid budget movie has gone away. That would be very experimental, like an 80, 90 minute movie, where you're in, out, and it's all it needs to be. Kind of going away.
Definitely, yeah. I've seen that happening a whole lot recently. Yes.
Sorry about the doggo being angry in the background.
No, it's all good.
That's enough. No more barking. Cut that pot out. I think that's two Chipperson references. I've I've now done my Chipperson for the month. No more Chipperson for me. Got to get rid of that crutch.
Tomorrow starts a new month, so you can redo it all over.
Hooray! My Chipperson meter refills.
Well, I do appreciate you having me on your show.
Absolutely. Thank you for sticking here with me and rambling on about radio, television, and beyond. Is there anything you would like to plug?
No, I don't have anything. I don't do a show or anything. If anyone wants to, they can go donate to Cole. You can find that through Bill Loney's Twitter. Dabblestorian has the same information as well. Check out Jake Husden.
Yeah, a van for Cole. If you just search that up in Google, the GoFundMe will come right up where you can donate. And as I've been discussing with people, some people are suspicious of that because fucking John muddied the waters with the beloved Chatter's beloved ones. But Cole is a special needs child, and it would mean just the world to him and his family to get that handy capable van.
Yeah, and I think Dabble and the whole gang has raised up almost $2,000 towards this need for a kid. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, a very good cause. Thank you once again for joining me, Ian Hawk. And this has been Chatting with Beloved Chatters. We will be back with you next week.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Places all join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LS, MFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right, dear honey, with a right to left date. Grand right and left, around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girl. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LS, MFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.